Man, it does not matter how many times I facilitate a session, talk in public, get onto a stage. I feel like every time I get ready to do it again, I get scared, I get nervous. I feel like I am going to blow it this time. And this is the time that everybody is going to find me out, right? I'm getting ready to hit the road again. And that's all I can think of is I've got two facilitated sessions for the next 2 days. And all I can think about is what if this isn't good enough? What if this is the time when I forget what I'm going to say. I don't know what. I don't know what I'm scared of. But really, at the heart of it is imposter syndrome. And I talk about it all the time. Why? Because I'm hoping to overcome it eventually, where it doesn't matter what I'm doing, that I know that this is going to be just as good as any other time. So, what is that? You guys have heard me talk about imposter syndrome before, and it's really at the heart of it is feeling like a fraud, feeling like an imposter. No matter how skilled, how good you've done things, you feel like this is the time that you are going to fuck it up royally, right? So, like I said, I'm getting ready to hit the road, and all these thoughts are going through my head. And so, what I want to talk to you a little bit about, because I'm sure, honey, we're friends, you are going through the same thing as me. And what is imposter syndrome? Like I said, figuring out that you're a fraud, that you're not real, that your skills aren't there. But what I want to talk to you about, what are some common triggers? Because for me, it's whenever I have to go back into the field again and start facilitating is a big one. But I just wanted to touch base with you really quick about a few triggers, common triggers of imposter syndrome, how these triggers can affect your self esteem and your self confidence, and just a couple of quick strategies for addressing those triggers. So, common triggers of imposter syndrome: one, fear of failure. Everybody's got that. Is my biggest thing is what if I'm not as good as I think I am? What if this is the time where I'm going to blow it? As I mentioned, it's really about feelings of self-doubt, maybe low self-esteem. Those types of thoughts are going through your head. Another one will be self doubt. As I mentioned, it's kind of fear of failure, but it's really a lack of confidence in your own abilities. And this can lead to thoughts of being an imposter. That's where you start going, oh, am I good enough? Can I do this? Do I have value to the world? And then one of the final triggers of imposter syndrome is perfectionism. So the need to constantly make things perfect is going to suck the life out of you. As I mentioned before, you can tune into that podcast of why it's going to suck the life out of you. But it really is, it's going to lead you to never believing that you're good enough and that you're always striving for something that you can never be. But I promise you, my friend, you are everything you need to be right now. So those are some common triggers of imposter syndrome, or ways of looking at things that come up for us. So how do these triggers affect our self-esteem and our self-confidence? So imposter syndrome can lead to negative feelings, of course, of low self-esteem. I'm not good enough. That's really what it is at the heart of it. You have this fake voice in your head that is telling you this narrative that is not true. You are good enough. You are smart enough. And it's just this voice that constantly keeping you. And the sad thing is, I think a lot of times that voice is actually trying to keep us safe because we are afraid we're going to get hurt, embarrassed. It's our ego that's telling us don't do this because it's dangerous. But it's really about they're just trying to protect us in not a great way necessarily, which I think is what a lot of our past messaging has been too, right? From our family, friends who maybe didn't have such a good experience and they try to scare us off things. They're trying to protect us from what they think is really going to happen or the bad crap that's happening out in the world. So just really be conscientious about your words, and that you're using them for good medicine and not bad medicine on yourself, right? So feelings of inadequacy and self-doubt can make it difficult to accept compliments and recognize achievements. It's a huge one. The people, when I say you are good enough, you're smart enough, no, I'm not. And I do it myself. If I get a compliment, it's like, oh, well, it was no big deal, right? If you ever said those things, that's part of that. It's putting yourself down and not recognizing and not appreciating who you are. And this constant pressure to meet high expectations can lead to burnout and a lack of motivation, which can further impact your self-esteem, right? That's where we keep pushing to be bigger, better, faster, stronger, when really you're amazing just the way you are right now, okay? So it's super important to be aware of these triggers and how this imposter syndrome is sucking the life out of us, right? We got to stop it. So finally, I'm not going to leave you hanging there because you want to know, what do I do about this thing, right? How do I deal with this imposter syndrome? So three quick things for you to think about. One, setting realistic goals for yourself. So set achievable goals, set smart goals, because you in your skill set know that you do have the skills to reach that. So am I telling you to not dream big? No, I am telling you to dream big. But if imposter syndrome is keeping you held back and shut down, then I want you to bring it back to a reasonable, because you can't convince yourself if you don't believe it. You can say it. So I need you to make realistic goals for yourself right now. Once we get a hold of that imposter syndrome, you just go crazy with it. But that's part of it. You can't get too crazy and, oh no, I suck, too. Oh, I'm amazing. Our brains know we're lying, or they think we're lying when we tell it that. So we got to make imposter syndrome's got to, it's like working out, like everything I talk about. You need to take small little teeny steps every single day to build up that strength of self confidence and that belief in yourself. All right. So every day, it's not a huge jump of just going from I'm a loser to I'm a winner. I wish it was that easy, but our brain has been stuck in this thought pattern for so long that you need to take small, steady steps every single day. So, um, so that's one of your setting realistic goals. Another strategy for addressing these triggers is reframing negative thoughts. So you really need to challenge this negative self-talk and replace it with positive affirmations. I am good enough. I can do this. I am smart enough. It's like for me, I'm getting ready to hit the road and I'm like, oh, am I ready? Am I good enough? Yes, I am. All I have is my energy and my spirit and my stories. And I am the best at doing those things. And that's what I need to focus on. That's what people pay me for, is my experience, my stories, and my energy. And honey, I know that. I know that inside and out. I'm awesome at that, right? But if I think that I'm going to go in and be a university instructor, sorry, my dog is annoying the heck out of me right now. If I'm going to be a university instructor, I'm going to teach it like it's this perfect thing and it's going to be this certain way. Well, yeah, I'm setting myself up for failure because I've never been a university instructor. Well, actually, I shouldn't say that. I'm actually going to instruct in a university program. I'm not certified that way, but because of my experience, because of my energy, they asked me to come and teach for them. So I have to just focus, and that's part of my nervous. I'm going to teach for university students. But that's not what the school is hiring me for. They're hiring me for my energy and my stories and inspiring these students. So that's what I need to, instead of going, oh, I'm not good enough. I'm not a university instructor. What are my stories? Who wants them? I need to say that's exactly what they want. And that's why they're paying me to be there. So I'm going to show up in the best way that I can. These negative thoughts, they're not true. Because the whole thing is why this client is hiring me is because of who I am, not because of what I know necessarily. So that's a big one. Reframe those negative thoughts. And finally, seeking support. It's amazing how we just let these thoughts run rampant in our head and never actually do anything to refute them. And that's a discussion we'll have another day, is actually talking about having I always talk about it's like having a court case, because we'll talk about how do I refute these negative thoughts. Maybe that'll be my next live for you. But it's literally, you need to have a court case where you find evidence for your awesomeness, and you need witnesses, and you need people surrounding you that are on your side. So that's where we need to seek support and stop letting the ghosts in our head tell us things that aren't true. So we need to talk to friends, family, maybe a therapist, maybe an elder, maybe a coworker that you trust. Maybe it's your yoga instructor. Maybe it's your sports. I don't know. You need to look. And it's quite often, it's not our best friend. A lot of times you need to go to and look for other people outside of you. If you don't have that support circle, or they're not necessarily giving you the info that you need, then you need to go outside of that circle and start to seek out other people and other expertise that can help you uncover all the stuff that you're dealing with. All right. So, and really, sometimes just talking about it helps it put it into perspective, right? And provides you reassurance that you are okay and that you are good enough. And one of the final pieces that and this is a longer topic, but I just want to give you one more thing, is to actually, I'm a big believer in mind body connection. So, one of the things that you can do, because a lot of these are thinking things, what I'd love for you to do, this is your homework today, is I want you to start making a list of all of your achievements. Write it down, just don't think it. Because when imposter syndrome jumps in, you can actually go and you have a list of evidence that you can start to read and reprogram your brain that no, 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 no. This imposter syndrome stuff is bullshit. I can totally see all my successes. And you might even want to look. And depending on your mindset, I always, for myself, but I don't recommend it for everyone. I like to look at the times when I think I could have done what could have even been better if. Not, oh, when did I suck and I want to be ashamed? No, no. How can I avoid those feelings of shame in the future if I wasn't? Because for me, it's normally because I wasn't ready and I wasn't prepared enough. That I had the thing not work out the way I wanted to. So much of that is just self reflection and going, could I have done a better job? No, I couldn't have. Well, then I need to pat myself on the back and say, yeah, baby, you got this. All right. So that's your homework for today. I want you to start creating this list of truths for yourself, this evidence about how you are successful, you are talented, you are skilled. And if you do find that you have some bumps and some bruises and some warts along the way, what could you do differently next time to help you fix that situation? But it's also, there are times when you cannot fix it. And it was other people's situation, the weather was bad, whatever that thing is, you need to be able to separate that and go, no, 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 I couldn't have done anything. That was an act of God. That was outside of my control. But the things that I can't control, what will I do differently next time? And that part of for me is a lot about making goals work. It isn't just going, oh, in a perfect situation, how am I going to this goal? Am I going to reach this goal? It's so much too about thinking, what could get in my way? And what am I going to do to avoid that? And how can I deal with it? So for me, it's kind of the after the fact. How am I going to deal with this in the future so I don't have to be scared and walk into this with imposter syndrome? Homework, do it, baby. All right. So, if you're curious more about this, you all know I'm working on it right now. I've got a digital product called Overcoming Imposter Syndrome, and it's in the process. We're still having some technical glitches, but I can, instead of sending you to the membership site, which is, of course, technology, I'll actually just send you the resources. There's a video, there is a self-assessment, there is a workbook, and there's a couple of other tools too that I could send you as well. So if this is something that you're interested in knowing more about, having some more tools and skills around it, just let me know. I've got this product, Overcoming Imposter Syndrome, $37 US. And like I said, there's an imposter syndrome quiz to help you figure out your type real quick. And I'm going to link that in the comments. And if it's not working at the time that you get this, don't worry about it. Just drop me a message, send me a direct message and say, Zan, I want in on that. So I've had that happen already once, and I've sent out a couple of packages here. So let me know if this is something you want to talk about more and you need some more strategies. All right. I love you. And as always, I don't care who you were yesterday, last week, 10 years ago. All I care about is who you want to be today, tomorrow, the next day, because today is the first day of the rest of your life. And it's time to get going, my friend. Let me know what you think. What are you working on? What is getting in the way of you getting what you want? Is it imposter syndrome? Does this resonate with you? Let me know.